You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. So Nic Anderson spoke with the media on Thursday as well, and he talked about how in each of his 3 summers with the Oklahoma Sooners that this is the toughest that it has been in the strength and conditioning program. What do you make of that, Jay?
They're leveling up, right? And we talked about this last episode, and that was one thing you were looking for, is the toughness, right? What does the toughness look like with this team? What's going to be the mentality? And the fact that Nick said this was one of the tougher ones, because he's been here the entire Brent Venables era. So he's seen each year with Schmitty, and all it tells me is they're leveling up. Their whole goal is to go out there and win, shock the world, and be successful. I love that all the skills guys are just like, yeah, this was a tough one, and we want more. Like, I heard I saw the videos of Schmitty just cheering them on while they're going through warm-ups and stuff. He looked happy. Like, I didn't think you could make Schmitty happy, right? It doesn't seem like it. And I was listening to Gabe and Teddy kind of talk about it. They're both just like, I mean, you know, they were a little gloomy at first, a little dooming at first, but now they're just like, I don't know why, but it seems like things are coming together, man. John, we've been saying it for months, but it really does feel like it's going to come to fruition.
I mean, I think that bringing back guys like Stutzman and Bowman to really set the tone for this entire team, yeah. I think we're still kind of underrating that. Because, yes, you lost leadership in Dylan Gabriel and Tyler Guyton. You lost a lot on your offensive line, Walter Rouse, McCade Mattire, but you brought back the heart and soul of your team from last year in Danny Stutzman, the guy that, when out of action, led to Oklahoma's losses. Yeah, you brought back Billy Bowman, the surprisiest breakout player with all the big plays, the 6 interceptions and 3 touchdowns. Those 2 dudes are setting the tone for this program. Defensive guys are setting the tone for the program now. How much fun is that? And that is going to help bring everybody up, bring everybody to a higher level of toughness and physicality and intensity and playmaking. And when you've got the defensive guys that are setting the tone and it's not the offensive dudes, I think it kind of bodes well for what Brent Venables is trying to build here.
Look, we've talked about it. I keep saying it over and over. I mean, it's the defense is going to be that tone setter, and it feels like it's setting the tone of being successful. So as long as they execute on everything they're saying, as long as the what they see in the practices are what they're doing in game, there's no reason why this defense doesn't end up at the top. It's funny because, I was, being online, of course, I was looking through how Venables performed at Clemson. And the one thing that jumped out, right, at the end of the season, SP Plus rankings for Oklahoma, defensively, we were sitting at 33rd with an 13th overall for the team. And last season, the season before, in the first year, we was number 70 in defense. So going from 70 to 33 on ESPN's SP Plus, pretty huge jump. That's right there in line, similar as far as jumps go, of what Venables did at Clemson. Because when he got to Clemson, they started at 58th, went to 18th. Then the third season, number 1 defense, number 4 defense, number 7 defense, number 1 defense, number 2 defense, number 1 defense, number 2, number 4. Consistently staying within that top 10. When is the last time we talked about Oklahoma have a top 10 defense? It was early 2000s when Venables was here. So if he keeps that going, and then Allie's going to be able to mix it up, I cannot wait to the first game. And the fun part about all of this, it really jumps out, John. How many different defenses did you think we're going to see in the first 4 games of the season?
A lot, because you've got so many guys that you want to get on the field. So you're going to throw out a lot of different combinations. You're going to run nickel with 4 down linemen. You're going to run nickel with 3 down linemen. You might even see some 2 down linemen stuff where you've got Deshaun McCullough and Kendall Dolt. You got both your cheetahs out there at the same time. I mean, There's going to be some weird stuff. You're going to see 3 safety looks. It wouldn't surprise me. You see some quasi 4 safety looks with one of those guys playing cheetah. I mean, it's going to be really fascinating because they're going to be able to experiment a little bit, especially against Temple, a little bit less so maybe against Houston and Tulane, but they'll be able to experiment with some things and really see, okay, can we run some of these like former, like those old Baltimore Ravens fronts where it's like one nose tackle and then like 6 linebackers and you don't know who's going to blitz and who's going to drop. Well, they've got the dudes that you can run something similar to that. You can throw Damonic Williams in there at the nose, and then you can have Danny Stutzman and Jaron Kanik and Kip Lewis and Kobe McKenzie and Lewis Carter and Deshaun McCullough all on the field at the same time and dare the quarterback to try and figure out who's gonna rush and who's gonna drop. So it's gonna be fascinating. I think you could see a number of different defensive combinations out there.
Yeah, once we start breaking down the defensive positions and stuff, and the idea, like for me, the thought process is, why show all your cards before your first SEC game? Honestly, why show all your cards before your first SEC road game, right? But that's the good thing is, and listening to Gabe and Teddy talk about it, the one thing that, they kind of pointed out was that both Venables and Allie have been very coy about answering the question of what the defense is going to look like. So we don't know if it's going to be Allie's 3 safety high, if it's going to be more Venables 3-3-5, 4-2-5. No clue. And I love that. I love the mystery behind that because there's no reason to even show your hand to the competition because they're still going to have to figure it out. They're going to figure out what Seth Luttrell's going to do, just like we are. They're going to have to try to figure out what Venables and Allie have up their sleeve going into the game. And then even the best part, with Gabe and him talking about how when you hear Zach Allie and you watch him move, the mannerisms, he's a BB clone. So everybody says it. And it's like, it's the joke of it is, yeah, everybody keeps saying it, but is it real? But then when they see it, they're like, oh, no. They're not lying. So I love seeing that both Peyton Bowen as well as Nic Anderson, though, have taken, it feels like a leadership role on both. Billy Bowman mentioned that the minute that Peyton Bowen really steps up and becomes a leader, man, he's going to be unstoppable. I love that that's what we're seeing now. We're getting that leadership that we've been hoping for from him as a 5-star coming in here and being probably one of the most talented dudes in the secondary. He's going to have a hell of a year. So it sounds like it's going to be him and Bowman up there at the top, starting up.
How many games do you think it takes Peyton Bowen to get his first collegiate interception? Because he was close several times last year.
He was close. Didn't get one. He got a sack, but he did. He got a sack. It was at UCF and some block punts, right?
Yeah.
Man, I think he gets it against Temple. I'm going to say Temple is the game that he gets it. Y'all tell me in the comments what y'all think. I think Temple is when he does it.
We'll come back and we'll circle back to that when the Temple week comes. But that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Also, go check out the Locked On Sooners Insider Program. You can join by texting SEC 2024 to 405-817-6711. You'll get 14 free days plus 25% off your first month. Again, 405-817-6711. Text SEC 2024. You can interact with us directly. We got guys that are just hitting me up constantly. We're just talking football, talking fall camp. It's a lot of fun. Jay's responding to those questions. We'll respond to your questions here on Locked On Sooners. Again, go join the Insider Program, 405-817-6711 by texting SEC 2024 to get 25% off your first month. Follow Locked On Sooners on all the socials at Locked On Sooners. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. Follow Jay on X, Twitter at Unfair Sports, myself at John9 Williams. But until next time, we'll have more fall camp stuff to talk about all August long as we get ready for Temple. He's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. Boomer.
Sooner.